Get ready for a powerhouse of inspiration. Principal Baruti Kafele. A highly regarded educator and a transformational leader, Principal Kafele has spent over 20 years in New Jersey's urban schools, making a lasting impact as both a master teacher and a turnaround principal. Under his leadership, the mighty Newark Tech transformed from a low-performing school to one of America's best, as recognized by U.S. News and World Report 3 times. A recipient of the prestigious Milken Educator Award, Principal Kafele is one of the most sought-after voices in school leadership and equity. He's delivered over 3,000 keynotes, workshops, and seminars across the nation, authored 13 books, including 7 ASCD bestsellers, and continues to empower leaders through his live-streamed AP and New Principals Academy. Please join us in welcoming the extraordinary Principal Baruti Kafele.
And we are live. Good morning. Good morning, good morning, good morning. Welcome to week 292 consecutively of the AP and New Principals Academy. Let me see who we got in here this morning. You know, y'all, I'm in the West Coast. I'm in Vegas, so you know I'm talking a little lower, but we gonna bring that fire. We got Patrick Lawrence checking in, and by the way, y'all, thanks for the volume of you all who are checking in on YouTube this morning as opposed to the other platforms. I appreciate that. Come on over to YouTube if you're not there. We're gonna try to move us exclusively over to YouTube. So come on over. We got Mona Obamolak is in the building. Constance Sherrod is in the building. Mona's from Orlando. Patrick is in Connecticut. Constance Sherrod's in Mississippi. Fatima Nelson is in Pennsylvania. Dr. Robin Snowden Harambe is in Fresno, California. Where we at? Nolene Martin, good morning to you from North Texas. Takesha High is in Virginia. Rodney Richardson, Hampton, Virginia. Grace Castaneda, Kyle, Texas. Mrs. Yolanda McKinney is out in Texas. Dr. Sonia Matthew is in Maryland. Where we at? Lysandra Brackens, North Carolina. One of the things about YouTube, the names don't show up the way they would on Facebook, obviously. So I'm struggling a little bit, but we'll get used to it. Life with Mrs. Olafunke is in Sterling, Virginia. Nikki Washington's in Oakland, California. Nadira Coley, Newark, New Jersey. Where we at? Chancellor Davis is here in Vegas. We actually communicated a little something, letting me know some of the things I could get into, like basketball out here. I didn't go to see the basketball games, y'all. They had a tournament out here. I went to the hockey game, right? We'll talk about that. Where we at? Sharon Rivers in Jacksonville, Florida. Marsha Poe is in San Diego, California. Janine Separano Wilkins is in Salt Lake City, Utah today. There you go. You moved a little east outside of being in Anchorage. Alex Yervin is in Mississippi. Retired Principal Dr. Makiva Jeter is in Calumet City, Illinois, and we always thank her publicly for all the promotion that she does, the tagging, keeping us informed that one of the others is live. She does a lot of that, right? Because sometimes you get caught up into life and forget that one of the comrades is on live. So she keeps us on our toes. Dr. Rella Hicks, new assistant principal. Dr. Rella Hicks is down in Augusta, Georgia. Where we at? Dr. Sheikha Houston. And let me say this about Dr. Sheikha Houston. She's got this new book, her and Tammy Taylor, Amir's Awakening. I got to get my hands on one. I'll get it real soon, Doc. But Amir's Awakening children's book. If you're not aware, I believe you can get it on Amazon, right? So just go to Amazon and check that out. See what she's got, what they have, I should say. But Amir's Awakening, an African-centered children's literature. You definitely want to check that out in terms of having the right stuff in the classroom or just in the hands of children that have representation that look like them. As quiet as it's kept, I became a voracious reader when I came into this epiphany of all these books representing people that look like me. And I became just this all day, all night reader for years. I don't read like that now, at that volume, but for years. And that's what led to my own metamorphosis, if you will, my own transformation, if you will, by seeing imagery, reading about imagery that I could identify with, relate to, that I saw myself within the pages of the book. So Amir's Awakening. Get yourself a copy of that book. Let's make that book a bestseller, fam. Let's do that. Let's go. And again, that's Sheikah Houston and Tammy Taylor. And speaking of them, Fantastic Four, they're the second leg at 10:30 on Facebook Live. I guess they're on the other platforms, but I'll just hit Facebook Live, 10:30, preceded by Sean Hurt at 10 o'clock, Turnaround Principle. Then AP, New Principals Academy, Facebook Live. But I really want to steer y'all over to YouTube, man. I really do. But if you can't, if you're just more comfortable at Facebook, I ain't mad at you, right? But I'd really like to see more of us on the YouTube side, right? I just want to kind of consolidate over there. Let me tell you one of the reasons why. There's multiple reasons, but if I could just give you this one. I have complete control over any comments that come on in the comments section. In Facebook, we really don't have control over that. We have to literally go into the app. And that could be time consuming. Whereas with Facebook, all I got to do sitting here, you see how my hand shifted over here. All I got to do is click a button and they're gone for life. Right. And we've had a few. Some of y'all, you didn't even know I was over here deleting stuff. Sometimes y'all tell me, but most of the time I'm going to see it on my own. Right. And then it's just clicking a button. So they have it set up StreamYard for YouTube that you can just click the button, delete them. Nice, not even nice knowing you. Nice having you in my space for about 5 seconds, right? So, but again, that's a personal decision if y'all want to switch over. Let me get a couple more here. We got Edwin Garcia, and I know I say it every week, Edwin, but I'm sincere. I got you on my calendar, right? I just have to reach out to you for the specific date, but it's a reason I haven't is because it's not till next spring or summer, so there's no rush, right? I'm literally booked solid until I think June, right? So we'll get it done. Arcella Austry's in the building. I see you. Chad White's in the building. Garfar WT is in the building. Stacy Joy, I see you, man. Shout out to all the West Coast folks who get up early to check us out, particularly to get up to see Sean, who comes on at 10 o'clock Eastern, because I'm just looking at myself and it's like, when you do these, it's like you looking in the mirror. I look like I'm gonna fall out on the floor, right? It's like I look tired, right? I sound tired, and here's the reality: I am tired, right? So, but it is what it is. It is what it is. Let me get the. Oh, there's the wife. I must have awakened her. The queen of this hotel room, man. We got more in the room of this hotel suite, baby. Right. So she's the queen of the castle is here, Kimberly Broughton Kafele. And by the way, I haven't been saying this. I can say it now because it's tomorrow. Her birthday's tomorrow. She'd probably kill me if I gave you her age, so I won't do that. But I'm older than her. We'll keep it right there, right? But her birthday's tomorrow. Give her a happy birthday. She's on the call. She's on the Facebook side. But yeah, her birthday's tomorrow, man. We've spent so many birthdays together. Oh my God, where does time go, right? But the queen, Kimberly Broughton Kafele, birthday November 30 tomorrow. We're gonna find something to do out here. We in Vegas. There's a lot to do, so we'll figure it out. We'll figure it out. All right, and man, there's a lot of y'all on here, man. I ain't realized it. Let me keep going, y'all. Let me. So we'll end the shout outs there, and let me formally say to everybody without my loud voice, good morning. Keep it right there. Greetings. Welcome to week 292 consecutively, baby, of the AP and New Principals Academy. Hey, man, let's get into it. Let me ask you. Yeah, I'm back to my question, man. How y'all feeling, man? How you feeling? I'm feeling good myself, y'all. If I can speak for myself here, I'm feeling really good. Good week, week off. I'm back on the road. We leave here Tuesday, and I have a flight Wednesday, right? So, I'll be back out there doing my December thing. But just the time away has been good. So someone might be thinking, but why Vegas, man? There's a lot going on there. Yeah, but we spend a lot of time up in the room, man, just chilling, man. We just like the Vegas vibe, the casinos, all that stuff. It's expensive. Yeah, it is. It is like, oh my God, a breakfast for two, $100? Are you kidding me? Right. But yeah, it's expensive. We're not here all the time, once or twice a year, but this is, one of our getaways. Y'all know Jamaica's another one in other places, but we here. So how you feeling? I hope you're feeling good. And if you're not, with your time off Thanksgiving, the day after Thanksgiving, maybe some of y'all were off the whole week. I hope you, just did whatever you got to do. Your emotional health matters. Your mental health matters. So I hope you did what's necessary for you to get yourself back to where you need to be, so that when you step into that building on Monday, you are ready to lead at a level that you have never led before. You're taking your leadership, your game to another level. Right? That matters. Let's go. Hey, y'all, I won't even ask you what were your wins. Yeah, I think I will. What were your wins last week? Even though you may not have been in school, what were your wins? Even if you were off, just process it. I'm processing mine right now, man. I had wins. I wasn't on the road, but I had wins, right? I won't bore you with all the details. Maybe one in a little while, but I had wins, y'all. That's why I'm smiling, man. That's what we got to strive for. Let's just win. It doesn't have to be like this. Just win at what you do. Like Jasmine Harris said, rest. To rest is to win, right? That's the win, right? So just make sure that you win, but process your wins, because it's easy to get caught up into our losses, right? But then, secondly, going into next week, what you gonna do? What you gonna do next week that takes your leadership game to another level, a level that you have not been yet, right? What will you do to take your leadership game to the next level, to the next plateau, right? Drop that in the chat if you will. I read these, right? Drop it in the chat. Let me know, let us know what you gonna do to take your leadership to the next level. Yeah, man, I see a lot of y'all writing rest, man, and yeah, that's a win, baby. Because this is a leadership audience that we talk to every Saturday, a leadership family. So we're talking about people that don't get normal rest, right? not school leaders, right? People doing other things, other lines of work. They may get different kinds of rest, right? But I can't speak for all of those. But what I can speak for is when you in that principal's chair. That's we don't get normal rest. So to get the days off, man. Rest. So I'm with that. Let's go, y'all. I got some announcements. Shout out to Dr. Quinice Miller. Here's where I worked last week. Shout out to Dr. Quinice Miller and her grad students at the University of Houston at Clear Lake last Sunday. Last Sunday, man, I was watching football, and I was home at that time, and it dawned on me. I said, "Ooh, I got to speak to grad students." So we had to turn that game off and talk to grad students. I think I was supposed to go 30 minutes, but y'all know me, man. We went about an hour, right? And because you got the young heads, man. They hungry, they starving. So I said, let me feed them, man. Let me feed them. Yeah, I'm missing this game, but that's all right. Let me feed them. So we just giving them all this information and had a good night. So shout out to Dr. Quinice Miller for seeing it not robbery to invite the kid, Principal Kafele, to come in and talk to her class, her students on a Sunday. Yeah, they checked in on a Sunday. She don't teach on Sunday, but she was able to organize it so that they would log on a Sunday. So we had a good time. Welcome to the first timers. But if this is in fact your first time, that means you've missed 291 sessions. Yeah, I said 291. Can you believe that? I started this the first Saturday in May 2020, baby, and haven't missed a week. Haven't missed one, right? So go to the YouTube channel, AP and New Principals Academy. Once again, AP and New Principals Academy. Go to the YouTube channel, click the subscribe button. I got to say that a couple times. Click the subscribe button. One more time. Click the subscribe button. Be a part of that 24,600, I think it's 24,661 subscribers to the channel. Be a part of that. Then it'll give you a notification bell. Click that too. And that way you'll be alerted when I go live. It's 10:55 every Saturday morning, right? So make sure you do that. Let me tell you, I made a little appeal to y'all last weekend. I'm gonna do it again. I'm gonna do it shamelessly too. Ain't no shame in my game. Where's it at? I'm on the wrong page, I guess. Where's my little? I can't find what I'm looking. Oh, there it is. Right here, y'all. If you don't have a copy, ain't no shame in my game. Watch what I'm getting ready to say for those of you who may have missed this last week. If you don't have a copy, right? I told you last week, I'm gonna tell you again. With this, and I don't, if I sound political, just let it ride. With this administration, a whole lot of industries, not just products, not just businesses, not just services, industries took a hit. Well, I'm in the publishing industry, not as a publisher, but as an author. But if the publisher takes a hit, the author takes a hit. Well, the publishing industry took a tremendous hit this year. And this book, which when I wrote it, I knew in my spirit, I knew in my soul, I knew in my heart, I knew in my mind that this book would be a bestseller in approximately 5 months after release date because of the book itself, because of the title of the book, What is My Value Instructionally to the Teachers I Supervise. I knew that, right? I said that with my whole chest, right? I knew that would be a bestseller within 5 months. But the publishing industry, like all others, took a nosedive. And now our books were not selling. I'm calling my publisher ASCD like, yo, what's up? That's all we got, right? They say, Kafele, man, the industry is not just us, it's the industry. Then I researched it. So here's what it is. To be an ASCD bestseller, you got to sell 10,000 in the first month. I'm accustomed to 10,000 in 5 months, right? You got, 10,000 in the first year, right? 10,000 in the first year. I'm right at the precipice, y'all. The book was released in December 16, 2024. I'm right. So we almost at December 16, 2025. And the book, we right at the precipice, man. Do your brother a favor. All of y'all to be sending me them notes. Can I send you a cash app, right? Can I bless you? All you've done for me. I get all of that. I hear it all the time. All you've done for me, Kafele. Can I send you a cash app? No. And I always tell you no. I say no. They said, but I don't want you to block my blessing. Man, y'all ain't got to send me that, man. Just say thank you. But here's what I'm asking you. Take this book over the top for me. That's all I'm asking. The best place to go is ascd.org, right? That's the best place in terms of instant numbers. But if Amazon, you Prime, and it's just easier for you, then go to Amazon, right? Right. Just get a copy, right? If you don't have, like, if you somebody you're gonna benefit from this book, but you keep procrastinating and putting it off, right? Well, I'm asking you, those of you that feel like, I want to bless Kafele, I want to bless Kafele, bless me. Get a copy of this book. I'm not gonna make money. The publishers make money. We get gas money. That's all we get as authors. That you would ask any of us. We can fill up the tank now. Instead of a half tank, we can get a full tank. That's what we get on our books. We don't make money on no books. The books do other things for our business, right? But certainly not. We can't live off of no book commission. So anybody out there that's got this great idea in your head, and you want to write that book, you better change your name to like Oprah or somebody, right? Because as long as your name is Jalil, right, or Jamila, then it's probably not going to happen, right? So, but it gives me exposure. That's what it does, right? And then that's how we those of us that do this, we make our money. So get yourself a copy, because I want the book at bestseller status. That's all I'm asking. Someone might say, you tripping, Kafele? That sounds like you ego trip. Nah, man. I'm accustomed to my books being bestsellers, and I don't, because just about every book I wrote is a bestseller, but for ASCD, but I don't want the one that I consider the most important to not be bestseller because of a freaking administration. Do you hear me? Right? Because of a certain administration, and now the book is not a bestseller because of some freaking tariffs. That's all I'm saying, man. I sound like I'm getting a little political. Let me calm it down, bring it down. Bring it down, right? So, so that's enough there, y'all. Y'all got the message. And that said, I'll get a few more today for gifts. That's what I'm talking about, man. I appreciate you, Todd. I got you on my summer list too. Todd Feldman out in the Bronx. He said, incredible book. I appreciate that. Stacy said, buy that book. And if you don't benefit, if you won't benefit from it, buy it and give it to a leader who needs it. And I ain't gonna read all of these on live right now, y'all, because I know y'all want to go. But Ken Sessions said from OKC, this book is a game changer in leadership. We use it daily. And I got to tell y'all, man, since I'm on it, I posted it yesterday. For those of you to keep up with me, you saw it. Edutopia interviewed 12 principals across the country, and they asked them. They said, "What is your favorite leadership book ever?" Right? And I'm not on Edutopia all the time. So somebody sent me a text. Matter of fact, I don't mind saying it publicly. Dr. Rachel Edowek had sent me a text and said, "Have you seen this?" I'm like, "Nah." She said, "Check it out. You're on there." And here was one of the principals, who I'm gonna tell you in a second, wrote about my book and said it's the best leadership book she's ever read. It was Dr. Amanda Austin, Louisiana Principal of the Year, who's been up on this platform, and she's fan of the platform as well. But it was her that wrote it, and I said, "Man, what a blessing, man! The Louisiana. I mean, think about this, y'all. This what when I ask you how you feeling, that's why I feel good, man. When you got the Louisiana 2025 Louisiana Principal of the Year, who says that book on that screen is the best one I have read ever for leadership. Man, that speaks volumes, man. She didn't have to do that. That speaks volumes, right? I can go deeper with it, but I won't, because we got a guest in the wings, right? But yeah, man, y'all get a copy and bless you, brother. That's all I'm asking. That's all I'm asking. Let's go. I gotta do two quick advertisements. Let me put this on the screen for you. Let's move that over a little bit. Hey, y'all, I'm co-hosting a conference. I was getting ready to say here in Jersey. I'm not in Jersey. I'm co-hosting a conference in Jersey with my milking sister, Dr. Tanya Breland, and Dr. Erica Leak. These are Jerseyites, right? And we're gonna do this on February 16th. That's President's Day. Schools closed. We kept the registration down very low. We opened up we sent out proposal submission opportunities about 2 weeks ago. I hope you didn't miss that. I don't know if the window's closed yet. That's they handle that. I don't do that part, right? But we opened it up to the world. You say if you wanted to send a proposal to speak at this conference, then do so. I know we got about 90 something submissions right now, but the conference itself will be on February 16th in Jersey at Seton Hall University. My main man, Dr. Salome Thomas L., Principal L., is going to be the keynote speaker, and then just a plethora of breakout session presenters as well, experts in various different areas of the classroom and leadership. So put that on your calendar. Use the QR code. If the QR code is not working properly in terms of registration, just go to that website there and register. I'd love to see you in Jersey. Love to see you in my home state, right? And those of you in Jersey, what is your excuse? You get schools closed that day. Come on and join us at Seton Hall University. It's going to be a dynamite conference, and then we'll probably build on it and start doing some other things as well. So come on out. So that's number one. Number two, and I'll keep that up there in case anybody's taking a picture or whatever. My School Leadership Institute that we do every year. This will be the 9th annual. I'm not going to get heavy into it because I don't have anything to put on the screen. The last year I never did, but this year we're going to be doing that. I'm trying to get better with the technology, right? So, but School Leadership Institute with Principal Kafele, we're going to be somewhere different this year. We're going to be in Savannah, Georgia, right? We're going to be in Savannah, Georgia, School Leadership Institute with Principal Kafele, 2 days, July 9 and 10. Again, July 9 and 10, School Leadership Institute with Principal Kafele. So I don't have anything for you to register with yet. We'll have that up very soon on Eventbrite. But just in the meantime, just keep it in the back of your mind or take a note. July 9 and 10, School Leadership Institute with Principal Kafele, 2 days, all new information, all new content, as always. And we're gonna have a great time. So keep that in mind. All right, let me get this out of here. And let's go. Let me do a quick monologue, y'all, real quick, because I got to bring Marcus up. We got a lot to talk about. My monologue is called Hey, Assistant Principal. I want to talk directly to the assistant principal on this one. Hey, Assistant Principal, how are you positioning yourselves for the principalship. Let me say that to you again. Hey, assistant principal, how are you positioning yourselves for the principalship? Right? See, I'm on those Facebook group pages, man. I'm on them more now than probably ever. Those Facebook leadership group pages, and you know, I'm never going to get into a thing where I would take someone's comment, someone's post, and read it to y'all. You know, they probably ban me from the page, but I see things. You know, there's a lot of those pages, and it sometimes it informs things that I would like to say here or when I'm out on the road. Well, in this case, there are folks that are very frustrated. I think Marcus, who's in the wings, I think he had like 21 interviews before he got hired, something like that, or some large number. So there are a lot of frustrated people because they just cannot get hired, right? They can't get hired. I need hours, plural, to talk about how to get hired. So we're not going to do that here in the monologue. But I do want to say this. I jotted down these 3 questions, and I just want you to focus on these. If you're one that's one of those frustrated APs that just can't get hired, right? I'm not going to talk about the relocating and all that. That's for another time. 3 questions. Number 1, what are you learning? I'm asking you, what do you know? Right? What are you learning? And I don't have to say learning solely about the position. I can say learning and keep that open-ended. What are you learning about how to position yourself? Right? But most importantly, what are you learning about leadership? Like, what are you learning? Like, what are you reading? What are you viewing? Hopefully you're viewing this, right? What are you listening to? Podcasts, right? Who are you talking to? What are you learning? That's number 1. You got to be like the cliche, a lifelong learner. But I'm serious about that, especially as it relates to you trying to position yourself for that position of principalship because you've been an AP long enough, right? So what are you learning is question number 1. Number 2, how are you gaining exposure? How are you gaining exposure? Maybe you're in a school where you've been confined to cafeteria, discipline, right? All that kind of stuff, right? Okay. So I'm asking you, so what are you doing to gain exposure to other than those very rudimentary aspects of leadership, discipline, and cafeteria duty and bus duty, right? Like what are you doing to expose yourself to more? What are you speaking up? Are you talking to the leadership there, your principal, right? Are you being that? Some of y'all not gonna understand this. You're gonna have to Google this because I'm not gonna explain it. Are you being that spook who sat by the door, right? And learning things that no one's necessarily teaching you. Like, in other words, are you hungry, right? Because see, the hungry one is going to get the exposure. I didn't get exposure, but I'm gonna tell you something. I got exposure. You didn't hear me. I'm gonna say that again. I did not get exposure as an assistant principal. Now let me shift my body. I got exposure. See, y'all ain't hear me, but that's all right. Rewind it like 10 times, and eventually you'll hear me, right? I didn't get exposure as an AP, but I got exposure, right? We'll keep that right there. See, in other words, oh, you gonna deny me? All right, I'm going through the back door. You ain't gonna let me in the front door to learn this budget. You're not gonna let me through the front door to learn this school improvement plan or to be a part of the process of creating it, right? You're not gonna let me be that instructional leader, and we can go on and on about things that principals. You're not gonna let me do this. I get it this way then. I get it. How are you exposing yourself, right? How are you gaining exposure was the exact wording for the sentence. But here's the big one, y'all. Put your ear a little closer to your speaker. Turn your volume up. Who sees you right now in real time, right? Who sees you? Man, folks were tripping in my district when they saw me become AP and principal, because I was the youngest AP in the district. I was the youngest principal in the district. I had only been an AP for the year. And folks like, how is that happening? Well, the answer is this question: who sees you? I said, we in a small district of 22 schools. I said, this superintendent, larger districts, you got to move a little bit differently. But let me give you for the medium-sized, smaller districts, I'm 22 schools. I said, that superintendent going to know me. I ain't just going to be some employee in the district and he don't know me. When he sees me every now and then, he might recognize my face. No, you going to know me. You going to know my name. You going to know who I am. You going to know what I do. And you're going to see me sitting front and center at every Board of Education meeting. Yeah, how about that? They don't require us to go to the board meeting, so I don't go. Well, guess what? I was a 5th grade teacher. I sat front and center, not in the back of the room, front and center at the Board of Education meeting. And then after the meeting, I went up to the dais and shook hands with the board members, including the superintendent. Let me tell you something, they knew me. And they saw that young man, he hungry, man. They didn't even know what I was up there for. They could deduce what I'm up there for, right? But the bottom line was the people that needed to see me saw me, meaning the decision makers. The superintendent a recommendation and the board approves it. I said, the people who need to see me, they're going to not only see me, they're going to know who I am. They're going to know me. So it wasn't that I was so skilled. It's just that I was so smart. There's a difference. See, enough said. Enough said. I got a guest here, man. We got Dr. J Saturday. So let me just adjust my screen right quick and make sure it's all set. There we go. There we go. There we go. We coming, y'all. Here we go. Here we go. Here we go. Here we go. Yes, we coming. We coming. Here we go. Bam. I put the wrong screen. I called myself doing this thing right, and I did it all wrong. Hang on a second. It's all messed up. Where we at? Here we go. Here we go. Bam. Good morning to you.
What's up, good brother? How you doing?
Oh man, I look like I'm about to pass. My eyes all slanted, man. But I'm good. I'm good. My wife probably saying your eyes always slanted. She always might. We take a picture. She said, "Open your eyes." I said, "Then it wouldn't be me." Right?
Yeah.
but I'm good. I'm good, man. How you feeling?
Man, I'm feeling good, man. You mentioned that key word, rest.
Yeah.
I was able to get some rest, man. You never know how exhausted you are until you literally stop.
Yeah.
And I was able to do that. I was able to stop and enjoy family. I went to Houston and relaxed. So I had a great time, man, and I got plenty of rest. And two things, Kafele, man. First, to everybody, the family out there, let's help push Kafele's book over the top, man. That is so important. I actually bought 2 extra copies. I already have a copy. Our entire district has a copy, but I'm gonna give those 2 away as Christmas gifts to leaders, man. He provided us 292 episodes of free professional learning from some of the greatest minds around the world. And I think we owe him that. So let's push this over the top, man. And next Saturday, we're expecting you to be over the top, Kafele. I'm gonna push it, man. I'm gonna push it.
I appreciate that, man. That's a blessing. I appreciate you saying that.
Yeah, man. And secondly, that story you gave to assistant principals, how you need to be excellent in the position you are, and you have to do something majestic that's gonna stand out. I got chills when you was telling that story, because my first year as an assistant principal, man, we took our mid-year assessments, and I noticed my 4th and 5th grade test scores wasn't where they needed to be. So Principal Kafele, I noticed that on my 5th grade, I had 2 teachers. I had 4 teachers on each one of those grade levels. I had 2 teachers where their math and science scores were exemplary, but their ELA and social studies scores were very dismal. However, I had 2 more teachers where the ELA and social studies scores were exemplary, but their math and science scores were dismal. It was the same thing with the 4th grade. And I said, hey, Dr. Walker, we have to do something different. Let's departmentalize. And, back then, 90s, that wasn't a thing. Late 90s, that wasn't a thing. You had your own kids all day. So I was like, we need to departmentalize. Here's the schedule. Here's a mock schedule I went there with something now. I went there with a plan. I saw the vision and I said, we need to do this. And she said, whoa, you're right. Man, thank you for bringing the schedule. I'm going to bring it to my assistant superintendent, my boss, and have her look at it. And Principal Cafele, she told us no. She said, no, you can't do it. So I came back, but I wouldn't stop. I didn't take no for an answer. I said, Dr. Walker, we have to do something different. Look at your scores in 4th and 5th grade. We can't have these scores. I feel our students should be taught by the best in every content areas. And she said, no, Dr. Jackson, we can't do it. I went to her the next day. I say, we need to do this. I was like, hey, we need to do it. But if she's on campus, just get on the intercom system. Here's my Joe Clark. Just get on the intercom system and say, Dr. Marcus Jackson, please report to the office. Dr. Marcus Jackson, please report to the office. And that means we won't transition. So she said, boy, you crazy. And I said, yes, ma'am, I am. Oh, test scores came out that next summer in June. Test scores top in the district.
Yeah.
And everybody was asking, what were we doing? What did we do differently? The superintendent came down, assistant superintendent came down. And I said, we did what, I'm not going to say her name. We did what she told us not to do. And here's the plan. And this is what we did. And the next thing you know, the entire district at that particular time departmentalized based off assessment scores. And that's when I put my name on the map at that particular time.
Wow.
So I was going to share that story in regards to, as assistant principals, you have to put yourself out there, be exemplary at something, make them notice you. You don't have no choice but to notice excellence.
You got that right. You know, it's so interesting you said that. It's, you know, you're speaking to my classroom teaching life when you say that, because our superintendent, Dr. John Howard Jr., revolutionary superintendent, during those years of his superintendency, that's what he did at the district level. He, the 93-94 school year, I'm a 5th grade teacher teaching all content in 92-93. He said, I want teachers teaching the subject area that's their strongest content area. So I'm like, oh, well, that's a no-brainer for me. Give me the social studies, but for my homeroom, give me ELA. So ELA and social studies with my homeroom, and then the other classes, 3 other sections of social studies throughout the course of the day, 3 other blocks. So as far as what we did as a district with test scores, same thing as what you did in the school. That was his vision, you know, and then he created a magnet school district on top of that. So that's how we became that African-centered school, science, technology, African-centered studies. So we had the best of both worlds there. But the bottom line was, I was so much sharper teaching the subject areas that I was strong in, as opposed to fumbling around with science, right, which is not my area. The mathematics, I can handle it at the elementary level, but not as an expert. Right, I can just handle it because I can handle 5th grade math, but yeah, I'm with you all the way. I don't know why that model is not used more, where you don't have teachers fumbling around with subject areas that they're really not conversant with, you know. But that's where we are. That worked, and I had that district. They haven't done it ever since, right? I don't know why, right, but it works. But anyway, good stuff. Good stuff. Let's go. Hey, fam. I had another question I wanted to ask you, Marcus, Dr. Jackson, before we jump in. The last time you were with us was September 27th. And then I, whatever the reason was that you weren't with, I don't even remember what it was. It was something. But I want to ask, for the fam out there, considering we haven't seen you in 2 months, give us one thing that came about because of your leadership that benefited something. It could be an entity, a school, it could be a person, it could be a staff member, it could be a colleague, you know, whatever it is. What is that we missed out on over the past 2 months? That one thing that you said, here's a benefit under my leadership.
Principal Cafele, we're gonna discuss that today.
Oh,
but at the executive level leadership at the district level, I made a mistake. And I apologized publicly to everybody. I rewinded the situation, and I dissected an error that I actually made. And through that apology, everybody was wondering how I was going to react and respond. because some venomous darts was thrown at me at that particular time, but I didn't flinch. So everybody was wondering how I was going to react to this, because it was actually a threat. Everybody was wondering, oh man, did you see what happened to Dr. Jackson? Did you see what transpired? Everybody was wondering how I was going to respond, but I didn't flinch at that particular time. However, Principal Kafele, I came back, I circled back, did some deep reflection. You asked us to look in that mirror, and people need to be honest with themselves when they look at that mirror. But man, I was blatantly honest with myself. And I found out one thing, that little small thing that I did that was enormous for somebody else. And I went back and I said, man, if I wouldn't have done this or said this, this whole situation would have been totally different. So I got back with the executive team, the superintendent, I think one of the state representatives were there, and I publicly apologized. And man, you could see the room light up. You can see the deflation seemed like someone popped a balloon of tension that was in the room that particular day. And it was a sense of relief with everybody. Wow. We smiled. I actually hugged the brother. It was a powerful moment. And there's a power in forgiveness. There's power in apologizing. And that has happened to me recently in these last couple of months. And of course, we're going to get into that today, man. But that was powerful for me, especially when you get at the executive level and you reach a certain status. But man, you have to do some self-reflection often and look for your areas of refinement in everything you actually do.
Areas of refinement. Yeah, good stuff. Good stuff. Hey, you nailed it. Good stuff. Let's go. Hey, to the fam out there, hit the share button, retweet, repost, text somebody, call somebody, let them tag somebody, let them know we're here, we're live. We got a lot to talk about. Let me set this up for the family out there. We've been working ever since Dr. Jackson's been with us, and let me get my camera back. Hang on. Oh boy. There we go. All right. So we've been working out of this for the whole residency, y'all. Essential systems for school success. And I was prepared to, I was putting together, that's not the right camera. I'll get it. I was preparing to do another agenda out of here, but then in preparing, I went to Dr. Jackson's Facebook page, and I saw some things that I said, ooh, he writes a lot of quotes. You know, we can call him the quotable Dr. Marcus Jackson. And I said, I can do a session just on these quotes. And then I came up with this name for it. I said 5 blind spots. You'll notice blind spots in quotes that can wreck, in quotes, your leadership. So again, 5 blind spots that can wreck your leadership. You know, we talk about blind spots a lot in terms of driving, right? Just, you know, be careful of your blind spots. But I wanted to add something to it, because if you're not careful with the blind spots, then it can result in an accident or worse, which we won't use the language. So I said, well, if we don't reflect, if we don't react or respond to the blind spots accordingly, it can wreck what we do, our leadership. And hence, here we are right now. So let's jump into it. I want to read number 1, Doc. You said, as a leader, mastering your emotions is one of the greatest forms of strength. Anyone can react, but authentic leadership is shown in how you respond with patience, purpose, and composure. When you rise above emotions, you create an environment where clarity replaces chaos and confidence replaces fear. When I read that, I said to myself, mastering one's emotions is a blind spot, because we can get all into the leadership doing what we do, but we haven't mastered our emotions. And now that becomes that blind spot that we don't see in the rearview mirror that can result in a wreck of our leadership. So with that said, what would you say to leaders out there about first steps toward mastering their leadership emotions?
Principal Kafele, usually when I write those quotes and I post those, of course, you know, there's always a story behind it. And that's my motivation to actually do so. Something had happened to me throughout the day, throughout that week, and I reflect, I write, and that's where these quotes derive from. In this particular case, it was an exchange with a student, Eric, at the high school. If you know me, you know I spend 90% of my time, I work at the district office, but I spend 90% of my time in a school. I'm doing a professional learning session with teachers. I'm working with principals. But most important, I'm connecting with students. That's just who I am. In this particular day, I had an exchange with Eric. And Eric was he was that guy, Principal Kafele. You go back to your high school days, and you know that guy, the big tough, the gangbanger, the guy that everybody fears at the school. And Eric and I had an exchange that particular day because the principal was out. So I stepped in to help out doing lunchroom duty that particular day. Well, Eric and a few of his friends, Principal Kafele, were trying to go to the restroom. And I aggressively, hey, turn around, let's go. You're not going nowhere. The cafeteria froze. Oh my God, he talking to Eric like that? Eric, this is about to get ugly real quick. And it did. Eric said, F you. Who in the F you think you're talking to? It could have went left real quick. Eric, let me introduce myself to you. I don't think we know each other. Everybody was wondering what the reaction was going to be. I say, could you come in for a second, sir? Hell no. I ain't going nowhere. Okay, well, I'm going to come to you. And I whispered in his ear. I apologize for my tone with you. My name is Dr. Marcus Jackson. I'm the Chief of Student Services. I work with the superintendent. I'm here helping your principals out. Please forgive me. I came at you wrong, and I need you to forgive me. Please forgive me. He said, yes, sir. Uh-oh. He said, yes, sir. Boom, I got him. The respect is there. I was like, man, you mind doing me a huge favor? Would you mind me and you walking out here for a second? They got a crowd that came around. You mind you and I just walking for a second and just talking, getting to know each other for a few minutes? He said, yes, sir. And me and Eric walked off, and everybody was, what did he do? What did he say? And I just turned around and I gave everybody the peace sign. And me and Eric became very, very close. And Principal Kafele, we have these opportunities and these exchanges. We're in a transactional business. We have them all the time. And there are a couple of things from that quote that arrived me to a particular point. Number one, you got to have emotional regulation. That's the bedrock of leadership. Once again, I went back and I admitted I did something wrong. My tone was off. I didn't have no reason to talk to that young man like that, regardless of who I was and what position I was in. I chose a response over reaction, Philly. Yeah. I chose to respond differently as opposed to react.
Yeah. And
I was leading with patience, purpose, and composure. And what I did most importantly to Eric at that particular time, because I knew Eric, I created a psychological safe environment for him. And to everybody that was around me at that particular time, including the teachers, I modeled my social emotional skills. I gave them a crash course right there that it's okay for an adult, even somebody who's high up on the org chart, to apologize in front of everybody. Hundreds of kids were in that cafeteria. And they saw that exchange between Eric and I.
Yeah.
And now I use Eric. Now in the cafeteria, he shuts the cafeteria down for me. And so that's an example, and that's something that came out of that quote, man. And I had to write that down that particular day.
Wow. Yeah. See the backstory to the positivity, to the positive quote. Good stuff. Good stuff. You know, you said that, and I'm still reading the quote. You said anyone can react, but authentic leadership is shown in how you respond with patience, purpose, and composure. I want to give you a scenario here. There's a parent who's irate, coming to the school, irate, can't wait to see the principal because this parent is really upset about a consequence that was imposed on, let's say, her son, right? And she feels that her son didn't do anything that warranted what became a suspension. So now she vehemently disagrees with everything, with all the principal's actions. She's upset, it's apparent, and she let the principal know under no uncertain terms how she feels about the decision. Now, for me, depending on how that's handled, that's another blind spot, right? Because the implications are not solely how we resolve it, just us, but that parent can talk in the community as well. And now my brand becomes distorted. So my question to you, when you talk about patience, purpose, and composure, let's break those down. In a situation like that, which can be very common in schools where suspensions do occur, particularly at high levels, what would responding with patience with this irate parent look like in this scenario? Let me say this to you real quick before you jump in. I'm thinking about all these APs who report, who tune in to this platform and the other three, and I forgot to mention Josh and Madi, but Create and Educate, Josh Tovar and Madi Moreno every Sunday at 6 o'clock Eastern time. I forgot to say that. That rounds out the Fantastic Four. But considering all the APs who are on this platform, who would see this video later, who deal with those situations, what would you say to them about patience? What does that look like?
Man, I'm glad you asked that question. What does patience look like? And it all starts with your reaction, your response rather than reaction. And Kafele, that's done through your body language first. That's done through your body language first. So while this parent, and I deal with them all the time at the district level as chief of student services, because I'm the person everybody calls to fix things. So I deal with it. And that usually starts with the, I understand. Give me 1 second, mom or dad, and you and I will go back to this particular conference room and we're going to work this out. When I get back there and speaking with these particular parents, I try to make everything interrogative. For example, before we begin, I want to know a couple of things, and I want you to think about these few things. I want you to explain to me thoroughly what happened. I am very concerned in regards to why are you feeling the way you're feeling. Secondly, you have the right to feel that way. Something happened, and I need to know what that is that happened so I can help you. And finally, before we actually leave, you and I are going to come together and we're going to work and have a solution. A couple of things happen with those three questions, with a question and a couple of statements, Kafele. Number one, I acknowledge their feeling. You have the right to feel the way you're feeling. Secondly, I actually told that particular parent, I'm here for a solution. You and I are going to work together collaboratively. And finally, I just acknowledge them, period. And actually convey to them with, okay, I understand, but I need to understand what's going on a little deeper. And usually, Kafele, what you will find out with this exchange, remember, we're giving these transactions all the time. Many times, what's going on, the issue with their child, is really not the issue at all. So I always ask, Mom, is there any, it was a very tense today. Is there anything that's going on that maybe the school district or I can actually help you with? I get this problem that's going on with your son, with your daughter, and we've been able to rectify that. Is there anything else I can help you with? We have a plethora of resources in this district.
Mm.
Boom, then you get to the root causes.
Mm. Yep.
Man, you get to the root cause. Dr. Jackson just went through a divorce, such and such and such. This is going on. My car broke down. That's why the kids were late at school today. And you go off through this list. And as they go through the list, I'm checking out on my end. Oh, whoa, we have a grocery store, man, in our school district where you can shop on Saturdays. So, hey, check this out. I'm going to take care of your grocery bill every week. How about that? I know you got this financial hardship, but did you know that in our district, you can go on the website on Saturday, go through your grocery list, and come pick up your groceries for the week on Tuesday because the groceries come in on Monday. Did you know that? So now I've totally transformed that whole discussion about her child.
Yeah.
I acknowledged her feelings. I was very, very patient. I was purposeful in how I was communicating that, and I did it with a great deal of composure. And then I found out the root cause of what was going on, the financial hardship.
Powerful stuff. Powerful stuff. Wow. You know, you actually summed up all three words, but I still want to put this other one on here. I asked you what would responding to patients look like, and you gave us something. And reading the comments on the side here, yeah, people are appreciating that. But then I said to myself, I said, bigger question: what would responding with purpose look like, right? And you hit it. I don't know if you want to add anything to it, but if you do, go ahead. The floor is yours. If not, then we can move on.
No, you have to approach it. You have to approach these problems and concerns that parents bring to you, Brother Kafele, with a spirit of problem solving. You have to have that. Ma'am, something happened. I want to know what it is, and you and I are going to work together collaboratively to solve it. That statement alone actually breaks the ice. It breaks the frustration. Yes, we get the cursing and yelling and all of that, but that's usually something underlining that has nothing to do with you.
Yep.
And has nothing to do. The situation happened, and that was the trigger that caused this major reaction. But your approach is everything, and that's where that purpose piece comes in at. And your response over reaction, that's where that statement is derived from.
Love it, love it. And then you also infuse composure. So I don't need to ask you about that, but I just want to highlight it. Responding with composure. See, when we talk about, like, it's come up in the thread, I've seen it, emotional intelligence, right? So it's one thing, parent comes in and parent is irate, and then we as inexperienced administrator, or maybe we having our own bad day, whatever it is, everything in between, and now we respond in kind the same way that the parent initiated the dialogue in the first place. So now you got something combustible that we can have something really major here, right? But that composure that you talked about. Now let me stay right here.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Let me stay right here, right? Because it ain't personal. It's I'm not gonna own this. It's a part of the work. So let me stay right here, even keel, and then we proceed. So I love it, because see,
I can feel like one more thing real quick. Like, I have my principal hat on. I have my assistant principal hat on now. So this is something I would do often. And when I have these tough conversations with parents, and we get in the conference room, I would draw a big triangle. I'll put the teacher's name, I'll put the parent's name, and I'll put the principal name at the bottom, or assistant principal name at the bottom. And in the middle of that triangle, I will write that child's name. And I would explain to the parent, I was like, yes, you was upset. You came in here very upset, man, but we're going to take care of that. But let me explain to you this triangle of success for your child. You got an issue with this particular teacher. You got the administrator right here, and you're right here. Everything we're going to do is centered around this particular child, your baby, in the middle. and we must stay connected. And I always preface that, Kafele, because that does something to the parent to see their child into center and surrounded by this great triangle. And that has always been an equalizer for me, where it was something I did when I was an assistant principal. And it's just a little visual that have always worked for me. And it always kind of broke the ice, kind of explaining that triangle and say, everything we're going to do, this child is going to be in the middle. And so I just wanted to give that visual before we actually moved on.
No, I'm glad you did. And I feel compelled to stay here now, because let's look at this. I've said on this platform a zillion times that I am not an auditory learner. I do not learn through my ear unless it's something very simple. But if it's complex, if it's layered, if it's intricate, I got to be able to see it. So here, a parent comes into an office based on what you just gave us for this discussion. Well, we don't know how this parent processes, right? So normally we're gonna have a conversation. It could be a conversation that we lose control over, but it's still two people verbalizing to one another. But now here you took this thing and you turned it. You took this conversation and you turned it into a visual, right? And now it allows the parent to see the discussion, right? Like I want fam out there, hear me. What he did, he's allowing the parent to see the conversation.
See the discussion. Whoa, that's a session there.
Yeah, that's what the young people say. That's a bar.
Yeah.
so to see the conversation, to see the discussion, because we don't know how parent is processing, and maybe a visual could slow the tempo, right? Could slow the tempo, and now we could work with it, because now you got something that you could teach from. You got a tool, you got a prop, right? That's powerful. I couldn't just keep going, because it's too much in there. That's why you on here so many times.
And Kafele, because there's so many things outside that triangle that's trying to get to that child.
Yeah.
The cyberbullying, sex, drugs, dysfunctional home, social emotional skills. If that triangle at that school isn't tight and that teacher piece is missing, all of those things just coming in.
Yeah.
If that parent piece is actually missing and is disconnected, all those things are coming in. Or right. That principle, which is that foundation, if that isn't rock solid, everything is going to seep in from the bottom. And like you said, it's a visual that's provided to our parents. And when they see their child in the middle, it reaffirms them that, okay, they're worried about my child.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. And we got you. And, you know, it's like, I think about this, man, you got me stuck, man. I think about this, this activity that I used to do when I used to do a lot of parenting seminars outside of school, just, you know, stuff in the community. And I would bring up a youngster and I would preach a sermon about how we got to keep a wall around this youngster, right? And then I would bring the men up in the audience and I say, form a circle around this first I would say, form a straight line across the front of the stage. And I say, and put the boy in the front. And I would say, we got his back, but that's not enough, because there's an opening in front of him. He can run in any direction. Let's form a wall around him now. I say, young man, I say, now try to get out of this circle. He can't, right? So what that diagram that you just talked about, the triangle, and with the youngster in the middle, he can't get out because, as you just said, there's no opening.
Mm-hmm.
See, so I want to make a push to the fam on the call right now. Use that triangle. As simple as it may sound, it's a powerful tool. Use that triangle, right? As Rodney Richardson said, a hedge of protection. Because as my man Wade just said, the youngster is right there in the middle. There is no getting out of that between those three entities.
Mm-hmm.
Good stuff. Let's go. So again, I'm calling responding with patience, purpose, and composure a blind spot. Because if I don't have that skill set, fam, if I don't have that skill set to respond with patience, to respond with purpose, to respond with composure, that's that blind spot that can cause a wreck in my leadership. That matters. That matters. Let's go. But then you ended that quote. You said, when you rise above emotions, you create an environment where clarity replaces chaos and confidence replaces fear. Speak real quick to that second one. Confidence replaces fear. What are you saying?
Man, I'm actually go back to the triangle. We can actually jump right back into that triangle, Principal Kafele, where that parent came in, and it was very, very chaotic. However, I had to provide some clarity to what we were setting up. I had to set the situation up in regard. I couldn't just dive in and then start engaging in dialogue while mom was on 100. I had to set that up with those questions I was asking, those statements I was making, and that visual. And at that particular time, I stepped a little closer to mom, and I was gaining confidence because mom came in there. She was upset. Or dad, this particular parent, they were upset and agitated about a consequence that has been rendered to their child that they felt was unfair. So I had to set that whole thing up, and there was a fear component that was attached to that as well. And the way I was able to remove that fear from mom was to have mom to create that visual and have mom to be able to feel that, okay, I'm pretty confident in his brother now that he's going to really take care of my child, that he has my child in the center. I had to create, and all that was created, and that confidence was gained through explaining that visual. And as you actually stated, I think you got to see the discussion. So I had to set that all up, and that's while she was seeing that discussion, and we were talking, I was constantly referring back to this particular chart. Yes, mom. Yes, he was suspended, but check this out. He wasn't where he was supposed to be. Yes, the child hit him first, but mom, he was not. He don't even have a class on this hall. During third period, he should have been over there. And the teacher was on duty.
Yeah.
I was walking the halls. And what we're going to have to do collaboratively is hold this child accountable. Me, you, and the teacher. But I set all that up with the visual first, Kafele, and that's where that confidence came in at. And that replaces that fear piece, replace the fear piece.
Wow. Wow. Good stuff. Good stuff. Man, let me keep moving. We spent a lot of time on that one because there was so much there. I don't think we're going to get to all 5 of these. Let's see what happens. Number 2, and for those of you that joined us a little bit later, I took 5 quotes from the quotable Dr. Marcus Jackson and turned it into a whole session called 5 blind spots that can wreck your leadership. Quote number 2, before you master leadership, master humanity. Being a great human being will always outweigh any skill, knowledge, or title. I want to read that one again because it's short. Before you master leadership, master humanity. Being a great human being will always outweigh any skill, knowledge, or title. That's a blind spot because we may go in there and we think we got it together as a leader, but that humanity could be lacking, right? So I want to create a scenario for you to respond to. You are a graduate student leadership professor, meaning you specifically, Doc. On day 1 of the first class you teach, you say to the students, before you master leadership, master humanity. That's your first words in your graduate student class. That in itself is an attention grabber. So my question to you, what would be your follow-up relative to an explanation of what you just said?
And my follow-up,
master, before you master leadership, master humanity. Go ahead.
man, I think one of the things, Kafele, that is actually so important is we go back to the mirror, and I don't think many people understand the significance of that mirror, and how important it is. I think it's so important to have a deep conceptual understanding of yourself and what are some of your flaws in so many different areas in order for you to be an effective leader. So I will start with that. And I got a plethora of activities that I actually usually do in professional development session where we actually start there first, because everybody, you have Dr. Jackson. That's the people that everybody's seeing right now. And then you have Marcus. Everybody saw Marcus for the break. Everybody hung out with Marcus. They laughed and joked with Marcus. But then you got Jack. Jack is a different type of guy who I try to keep suppressed. Because see, Jack can get to a point. I'm not going to start it. I'm not going to start anything, Principal Kafele, but I'm one of the top finishers in the United States of America. If you get Jack, if you take Jack there. So I'm very knowledgeable of that person, Jack. So I try to keep him suppressed. So I will start off by actually doing that diagram drill, and I challenge everybody else to do the same. What are those flaws with Marcus? What are those flaws with Jack? And what are those flaws with Dr. Jackson from a humanitarian standpoint? And what are my areas of refinement in each one of those? That's where it starts at, Principal Kafele. We're having those hard discussions and dialogue with yourself, or in my case, sometimes I take a selfie and just say, man, what do you see? And let's say I had those graduate students, and I'm sitting down here taking copious notes as you actually was reading that. And I talked about the bedrock with mastering your emotions, but humanity, that's right there with that. That's the foundation as well. You just simply got to be a good person.
Yeah.
There's no other gratification than somebody acknowledging you to someone else and say, man, you know what? Principal Kafele is good people, man.
Yeah.
He's good people. Not the principalship, not the leader, but he's good people. He's good people. And when you're talking about being successful in any organization, school, you have to have that human element that's actually there where you're just a good person. And we're seeing it nationwide right now, but we're in a leadership that's just not a good person. And I'll call it out. I'm not getting, I don't care about the political component, but you don't call no journalist piggy.
Right.
You don't degrade people because of their ethnicity. And you're doing this on national, that's just not you're just not a good person.
That's right.
So highly effective leadership starts with being a good person. And your emotional intelligence, I always stated, will outweigh your expertise. It will outweigh your title. And these were some of the things that with those graduate students and the question you just asked, I will start there, Principal Kafele.
Yeah. Good stuff. So, and again, you kind of hit the second part of the quote that I was going to ask you to elaborate on. The remainder of the quote says, being a great human being will always outweigh any skill, knowledge, or title. Every now and then, and I don't want to pinpoint this to a particular day because I don't want to out this person, but every now and then someone will write something on my thread, and they mean well, but the comment is offensive, not necessarily to me, it's to whatever they're writing about. And it's very easy for me to come back at this person strongly and maybe give the person a bad day. It's easy to do that, given that the regard that the person may hold me, right? But instead, my humanity kicks in, right?
Right, that is.
I'm not going to go at this person who's probably been following me for years, and now perhaps the person will say, I can't deal with him anymore. I let the humanity kick in. I'll make a point, but I'm gonna let you save face, right? As opposed to embarrassing you publicly, altering the relationship. I don't know you, but the relationship we have via social media. And I think that it becomes a teaching tool for the person that I'm responding to, you know. So that humanity piece is so critical. Now, somebody, as I've said on here a million times, you come at me and attack me, then I'm not going to debate you. I'm going to block you, right? So that list is yay long, right? But as long as, but this here, I'm not even talking about me being attacked personally. I'm talking about somebody on here saying something that's just horrendous toward people, right? We'll keep it kind of there. I don't want anyone to find out about this post because it's still sitting on my page, right? It's I'm going to use my humanity and I'm going to respond that way. Well, all that's transferable, as you just said, when we talk about the school, right? In terms of who it is that we bring to whatever the situation may be, right? And we may have a particular skill set, we may have certain knowledge, we may have certain title, but is the humanity that we bring evident in that school under whatever situation?
And Kafele, what you're describing right now, good brother, is what I call human-centered leadership. You see the people, not the situation.
Yeah.
For example, when that angry parent came in there, I saw that person, not that situation. And when you have that human-centered leadership, that ensures whatever situation or whoever you're leading, you're going to do it in an equitable manner, always. And I have an innate ability to literally turn. I'm able to lead and listen with my emotions off. I can flip it off like a switch.
Yeah.
And I can totally get into what you're saying, what you're explaining, and how you're feeling. That's a leadership skill that I've actually developed over the years, Principal Kafele. And I get in trouble with that sometimes because there are sometimes I expect reciprocity.
Yeah.
I expect you to do the same, but then I catch myself and I'll be like, hold on, I can't expect the me out of others.
Yeah.
And then I come back to reality.
You know, I love what you just said, because let's any scenario in a school. It could be a scenario with a teacher, a student, a parent, a whomever, community person. But to the fam out there, do we have the ability to turn off the emotion and just deal with it on a professional level, right? Because if the emotion drives it, then we may not reach the intended goal. So when I think about my career over those 14 years, I know, Dr. Jackson, that I grew in that area, right? But I also know that I had times when I fell back, right? Because I wasn't perfect. So had those times when, man, I let my emotion get in the way of this situation instead of dealing with it as Mr. Kafele, the principal of the school, and leave Baruti out here somewhere, right? I brought Baruti's emotions into this thing, personalized it, and now we're going to take that much longer to resolve whatever the issue is. Yeah, I'm with you. Gotta know how to separate the two.
Correct.
Easy though. Let's go. Number 3. You had a title with this one. When I talk to a student, I think this was my favorite one. When I talk to a student, I feel the assignment. Once again, when I talk to a student, I feel the assignment. Let me read the quote. Each day in every conversation with a student, I feel a quiet presence guiding the moment. Whether we're searching for inspiration, unpacking conflict, or simply sharing thoughts, something greater moves between us. These exchanges remind me that children are often the vessels through which God, wisdom, and purpose speak. Their words soften me, sharpen me, and redirect me. And in those sacred moments, I'm reminded that I'm just shaping a child's life. God is shaping mine. That's a powerful quote. Powerful quote. For the purpose of this platform, I want to zero in on these words. Their words soften me, sharpen me, and redirect me. And in those sacred moments, I'm reminded that I'm not just shaping a child's life, God is shaping mine. I take that, Dr. Jackson, I say that the wholeness of that quote, that's a blind spot, right? And if I'm not aware of that, the way you worded it, then I could miss something and that wreck could occur, right? So let's break this whole thing down. Their words soften me. What are you saying?
Man, once again, there's a story behind all of these quotes. This particular day, I was visiting schools. It was an elementary school, it was a middle school, and it was a high school. And at this particular time, Principal Kafele, every time I entered the school, it was chaotic with the boy, the young black man. Mm-hmm. And they were irate. And I would come in and I would ask the question, and just so happened these three young black males knew me. I do a lot of mentoring in the community, so they actually knew me. Jarvis, Raymond, and Derek were their names. And they said, Dr. Jackson, they just don't understand. They just don't understand. Was able to calm Jarvis down. Spoke with the counselor, spoke with the teacher. Then I went to the middle school, same situation. Kid tearing up the room, upset, agitated. I actually had to ask this particular student, Raymond, what's going on, man? Dr. Jackson, they just don't understand. They just don't understand. They don't understand. They don't understand. Go to the high school, Derek trying to fight somebody. They just don't understand. And I was like, whoa. 3 separate incidents, 3 separate schools, and all of them had the same message. They just don't understand. I knew intimately what was going on through my student services work with these particular students and the major challenges they were having. Several months ago, you did a podcast. We did a session on here where you played Devin. Devin was the homeless kid. And you played his interview. That was a powerful interview. And Devin said something in that interview. He said, Dr. Jackson came to me and he said, you get it. I understand you. But just because you're homeless doesn't mean you have to be hopeless as well. He said that. And he said, Dr. Jackson understands me. So in this particular situation, Kafele, having a deep conceptual understanding of the child and the children we're actually serving allows us to help and lead more effectively. And once again, I can go back to that triangle with that particular child. And then each one of these questions, each one of these situations at the elementary, middle, and high school, I actually asked the young man 3 separate simple questions, Kafele, and responses. Number 1, I started off, you have the right to feel the way you're feeling. Do you mind talking to me right now? And with them kids being on 100, what's that answer is going to be, Kafele? An emphatic no. Mm-hmm. And I will lean in. Do you mind if I come back in a few minutes and talk to you later? And usually that answer is yes. And I'm bringing all that back to this particular quote, Kafele. When I talk to a student, I feel the assignment. I was on assignment at that particular time. Number 1, to calm the kid down, to let them know that your feelings is justifiable. Boys, nobody's concerned about our feelings at all. They say they do, but they show us something differently. There's a whole different podcast about that. And our feelings are suppressed immediately at the age of 2 years old. We fall, we hurt our arm, toughen up, man up.
Yeah.
So I felt that assignment that particular day with those 3 students, and those exchanges, as I stated in the quote, reminded me that children are often vessels through which God's and wisdom and purpose speak. At particular time, their words, they don't understand. They just don't understand. That softened me. That sharpened my skills, and that redirected me to go into a different process in regards to the act and anger that this child was displaying.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, yeah. let's you said sharpen, and that's no matter of fact. Let me stay with soften me for a second. So I want you to talk to the fam on this one. What are the implications for fam out there within their leadership capacity when we talk about their words soften me?
Man, softening me at that particular time. Once again, I have to turn my emotional piece off. Let me connect my phone, if you don't mind, real quickly. Got about 15% charge. Yes. At that particular time, Brother Kafele, I actually, those kids and those interactions, if we listen deeply to what they're actually they're saying to us, and look at the anger that they're actually displaying to us, we'll see that something deeply is going on, not with just that situation or that moment, but something is underlining with that child. And that's where the softening me comes in at. When I have those transactions with Devin and he's explaining to me a situation, and give a shout out to Devin. Devin has just finished completing his first semester at University of North Texas, all A student. He's doing extremely well. But if you're engaging in meaningful dialogue with our students, and you're understanding and listening intensely, it can't help but soften you.
Yeah.
Because they have so much going on, man. Our students they're coming into our schools with all these adult issues that they have. And if that doesn't soften you, what does?
What does? Secondly, you talked about, you said their words sharpen me.
Mm-hmm.
Talk to the fam out there. When I say fam, I'm talking about the folks out there, our viewers. Talk to the fam out there about the implications for them and their dialogue with young people, and how the words of young people could potentially sharpen their leadership, as opposed to it being a blind spot for them.
Yes. First of all, Phil, I think it's very, very important when we're dealing with these exchanges and these transactions all day long. And you have to take this transaction that you're actually having at this particular moment to handle that transaction that you're going to have later on. Because if you did something wrong, I can go back to your mirror, Kafele. You should put that mirror up. You should have one at school. You should have one at school. And you should have one at home. After that meeting with that particular parent, how did that go? What could I have done differently? What could I have done better? Because you're dealing with this, but that is right around the corner. And sometimes in a school setting, as soon as you finish with that one, you got a fight you got to deal with. You got somebody in the district office needs something. You got another irate parent waiting in the conference room for you. So you got to learn from this in order to get better at that. And that's where that sharpening piece comes in at. And that's why I'm actually well versed in this particular area. And this didn't happen over time. This happened with deep reflection. And of course, as you stated, reading in those areas of refinement that I needed.
Yeah. And then the last one is the one that really caught my attention. Their words redirect me, right? Talk to the fam out there once again about their engaging with young people. What is it about the words of young people that could possibly redirect their leadership, or just redirect them in terms of just who they are in relationship to the young people that they're working with?
I actually gave a few examples, and we can go back to the first example with the exchange that occurred with Eric and I. And Eric, that exchange that I had with Eric, Principal Kafele, I had to quickly pull that mirror out of my pocket, and I actually had to look at that exchange that occurred. This happened like this, Kafele.
Yeah.
It happened right then on the moment. I had to, boom, my tone was wrong. I embarrassed this kid in front of 400 people with my loud voice. I had to quickly redirect myself and apologize. And Kafele, if we listen in our schools and we listen to our teachers and we listen to our students and parents, you should be in a redirecting business because you're constantly should be redirecting yourself to something better. And that's where that line in that quote came from.
Yeah. That, you know, to the fam out there, that redirection, man, we could do a whole seminar on that, on all three of these, but particularly that redirection, because that's that processing of who we are. But as Dr. Jackson just said, sometimes you don't have time to give it in-depth thought, like the situation with Eric. It's like, all right, and I've been in them situations. It's like, all right, I gotta move quickly, but I gotta move as intelligently as I possibly can. So how I'm thinking I want to respond based on the situation, I may have to redirect and respond differently, right? So I'm saying that to you all, as Doc just said, get yourself a mirror and just use it symbolically, and ask yourself at the end of every day, am I satisfied? Am I pleased with how I responded or reacted to a situation, or do I need to redirect the way I proceed next time based on whatever it is that I'm up against?
Man, Capella, you got me. Before we went on the Thanksgiving break, I had another exchange with someone on my team that I was actually leading, and I actually gave a charge for somebody to do something in front of the team, and they told me they weren't going to do it. I'm not going to do it, so I'm not doing that. And you know what my response was?
What's that?
Okay. See, I wasn't going to give them the show that they wanted in front of everybody. And I just simply said, okay.
Yeah.
It wasn't time for an exchange at that particular time. However, I circled back about an hour later and went to their office. I said, let's have a discussion. And what eventually came out of that was an apology. In our next meeting, I was upset. I was agitated. Dr. Jackson gave me one more thing to do. I'm glad he came, was able to speak to, but I handled that quickness, fella. Yeah. I just said, okay. And we have those often.
You know, since you said that, I'm gonna say this to the fam out there. Every now and then, you may have a staff member, could be a teacher, could be anybody on staff, and they decide to use your staff meeting as their platform to grandstand, right? Many of us have been there. So there's something you said they don't like, some initiative that you're launching they don't like, and they grandstand. The staff will probably not applaud them blatantly, but you know that they're in agreement with what's being said. Well, I taught myself, I guess is the best way to say this, at a very early in my career. We're not going to we're not going to entertain this staff at this staff meeting, right? You said what you said. I will acknowledge it. I might say point taken, whatever. But then I'm going to have a private conversation with you later, right? That's going to be up to you if you want to share with others our conversation. But I'm not going to put on a show for 100 people in a room who can't wait to see how I'm going to respond to you since you tried to make me look bad in grandstand at a staff meeting, right? So I'm saying that to the fam, be careful of that. Because if you don't handle that correctly, you might look weaker than you did before that meeting started. And you always want to maintain your strength, right? So that may not be a situation for you to respond to in that meeting.
Correct.
You have that private conversation where now you can disarm this individual if you feel that this individual is out of line, right? And maybe this individual will go to the staff meeting, such as what Doc just said, and explain the situation, right? But just keep that in mind, man, because people will grandstand, depending on the relationship they have with you, right? They will grandstand, but what's most important is how you respond to it. I'm not putting on no show because I ain't no entertainer, right? Let's go. Number 4. You said I wanted to fight. Matter of fact, before I go to number 4, to the fam that checked in after my announcements earlier this morning, 10 o'clock, 10:55, I should say. I'm encouraging folks to switch over to YouTube, right? Of course I can't demand it, right? But I want to have a little bit more control over the platform, because when the folks that come on here that want to put spam in the thread, I can control it on YouTube. I can immediately delete it and block them. I can't do that on the Facebook side. I can't do that on the Twitter side. I can't do that on the LinkedIn side, but I can do it on the YouTube side. So I just want to encourage you, if it's not robbery, move on over to YouTube. Not now in real time, but next week, move over to YouTube for me. I would rather just have a YouTube audience as opposed to, right now we're on 4 platforms: YouTube, Facebook, Twitter or X, and LinkedIn. I want to move this entire platform to YouTube, right? So that's going to take time, but I'm just going to keep reminding you to get yourself a YouTube account. And if you don't have one, and let's do this on YouTube. I will not take it off of Facebook, at least not right now, but maybe sometime down the road, I might, right? Because I just want to be on YouTube. All right. You said I wanted to fight, but instead I chose reflection. I acknowledged my role in the misunderstanding and offered an apology. True leadership isn't about being right. It's about being accountable. Apologizing doesn't diminish authority. It strengthens credibility. We went all into that, so I'm not going to ask you to repeat unless there's just something that you want to say.
Oh, no, Kafele, this is a great piece before we go into the last one. We started off with that. And Principal Kafele, Jack came out. Principal Kafele, I wanted to fight. I'm talking about really fight. I'm talking about take the glasses off. I wanted somebody to smell my cologne. I
gotta put my head down, man. I ain't never heard that one, man.
Hey, man, I'm telling you, I wanted. This is a grown man to grown man exchange, and somebody threatened me and said they wanted to do something to me, and I actually felt that, and my immediate reaction was, man, I want to fight now. I literally want you. You have to smell my cologne. I mean, we have to go there. But then I thought about everything that I'm actually conveying to the APN Principals Academy today, and man, I immediately had to reflect. I had some deep reflection, Kafele. I'm talking about 2 days of it, 2-3 days of it, and I went back and I said, hold on. I was like, hold on. If you wouldn't have said this, that would have never happened. And I was totally out of line, because the superintendent had already said, okay, this is what we're going to do. This is the direction we're going to go in. Yeah. And I said a little jazzy little statement. It wasn't nothing about 3 or 4 little words. That sparked it all. That was me. That was me, Kafele. That was me. And everybody was wondering how it was like, oh God, Dr. Jackson, I've never seen him. How's he gonna react? And how is he gonna respond? And that was through an apology. Yeah. And that was apology. And so that's where that quote actually comes from, Kafele. And of course, we explained that when I opened up that apology piece.
Yeah, no,
And that's fresh off the press, man.
fresh off the press. I love it. The fam out there, they love it too, though. They love it. They love it. You know, Elton John, who's my man, that's my guy. He's got this song he released back in 1976 called "Sorry Seems to Be the Hardest Word." And I listened to that song a lot on the airplanes. And that's a hard word for people.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry. I apologize, right? But as leader, being sorry, being apologetic doesn't make us soft and weak, as you so eloquently said. In fact, it makes us that much stronger and that much more credible, right? But you and I have to get past whatever the stereotypes are of saying I'm sorry to somebody when I was wrong, right? That
Correct.
I apologize to someone when I was wrong. You know, get away from the negative connotation of what that is. That just makes us stronger in the eyes of staff, the people that we lead. Whether you apologizing for students or staff, I'm sorry. I apologize without sarcasm, right?
And you're hitting the nail on the hammer right now. And real quickly, I want to give I posted this the other day, but I want to give the AP fam on there. I want to give them 10 quick statements that will literally transform the way you lead, and talked about that humanitarian leadership that we actually was discussing today. The first one, if you have something to write with, write it down now. These 10 things are: the first one, I was wrong. I apologize. Number 2, I don't know it all. I don't know it all. Number 3, I don't understand that. Number 4, I need your help. I need your help. Number 5, please forgive me. And 6, let's work together. Next, you're correct. Next, your input is valuable. The next one, you are appreciated. And finally, which I think is one of the most important ones, I am proud of you. I'm proud of you. Man, if you walk around with these statements on your leadership tool belt, whether you communicate with parents, students, your teachers and staff, and you use these appropriately, and you're operating from that humanitarian spirit, your life, your school, your organization, or department you're actually leading will be a better place.
Love it. Y'all just got some extra nuggets, right? That's good stuff. Good stuff. Fam, you got some extra nuggets there. Let's go to the last quote. Number 5. It's not the system is failing our children. I'm gonna read that one again. It's not that the system is failing our children. It's actually functioning as intended. Man, as much as I want to read the rest of it, I got to give that to you one more time, y'all. It's not that the system is failing our children. It's actually functioning as intended. As an educational leader, recognizing this is the first step towards ensuring student success for all students. Hey, fam, let me tell y'all something before I go to Dr. Jackson. That too is a blind spot that can wreck your leadership. If you're leading a school, or you're an assistant principal in a school, or you're leading a district or any of those departments at central office, and your mindset, you have bought in completely to the system is broken, then you got blind spots all around you. They're all around you. Because as the statement is saying, and I selected these quotes from Dr. Jackson's page. I could have scrolled deeper and found others. These were the ones that resonated with me most relative to the purpose of the platform. But so I stand on that. It's not that the system is failing our children. It's actually functioning as intended. So therefore, I'm saying to all of you, and I'm saying to Doc, which will lead to my question, that thinking going beyond the system is failing, and that the system is doing, or is failing our children, that the system is doing what it's intended to do, that's a complete mind shift, because it's easy to conclude that we will never reach our potential because the system is failing or the system is broken. But that's a mind shift, a complete mind shift to internalize it, take the mirror and face it toward you, and then look at what are we doing within this system to bring about the change that we're looking to make. So I got a two-parter for you, Doc, and it might be a three-parter. How does one, if I'm leading the school and my mindset is the system is broken, the system is failing our children, how does one go about shifting that kind of thinking onto themselves in terms of their leadership and everything that emanates out of their leadership?
Well, a couple of things, Principal Cavale. First of all, in regards to the system being broken, I really didn't have that conceptual knowledge until, man, probably the last 15, 20 years. A first example of that was, you remember the old AYP days, annual yearly progress, where you're a student, no child left behind. And my first year as an assistant principal, I'm a data guy. So I'm looking at the data and I'm looking at these numbers, and I'm looking at us celebrate meeting AYP, but the bar was only set at 58% of your students succeeding. And I'm like, well, hold on, what's going on with these other students? And I give an example when I actually sat down one day and I actually was going over our mid-year data assessment. We took the mid-year assessment in February, so we had about 8 weeks out. And Principal Cafele, we went through. You remember they used to call those bubble kids? They call those bubble kids, those kids on the bubble.
Yep.
Then there's a whole lot of other kids that can't even get near the bubble. But Principal Cafele, we sat down in that particular meeting and we highlighted, and there was 144 kids. 144 kids that, based off of that assessment, we knew they were too low to save in a couple of weeks. And so I participated in this. And I watched those 144 kids do something differently and go through the regular day, while these kids that we needed to meet this mark did some intense intervention to give them exactly what we needed. 58.2% was the target that particular year in math, because the math curriculum had changed. We got to 62%. And Cafele, we got a flag, we got recognized by the district, but I couldn't stop thinking about those 144 kids. The parents had no idea what was going on with that. But we met our target and we met our goal. And it was there at that particular time, Cafele, that every time I have in my school improvement plan, I write 100% of my students will excel academically and show growth. Well, no, Dr. Jackson, that's not a SMART goal. No, sir. It's smart to me to really truly believe that each and every one of these kids will succeed under my leadership. They don't have no choice. So I'm gonna keep that 100%. You can change it, Superintendent. You can change it if you want to, but then I recognize the system administratively. And then I started doing things differently. Principal Cafele, I started breaking some rules. I started breaking a couple of rules. I started breaking a few rules, and I started giving my kids exactly what they needed. And man, the system is producing exactly what it was designed for. and that's mediocrity. And it's in your face now. It used to be hidden.
Yeah.
Project 2025, it's in your face.
It's in your
You
face.
you can't read these books. You're banned, you're forbidden to talk anything that says Black or Hispanic.
That's right.
You can't do this, you can't do that. And guess what? Your profession isn't even a profession anymore.
That's right.
It's putting it, that's the system. But I've always bucked the system. And I think for leadership, when you see this isn't going to work for our kids or the community that I'm serving, and if you don't do anything different, I get it. And Coach Carlos and I go back and forth all the time. Dr. Jackson, you asking people to do some real, I feel I can't do it any other way. I can't continue to swim in the pool of mediocrity. Mediocrity is a sin to me.
Yeah.
And our kids need the best. And if you're not able to go against the system to give your students and your community what they need, you shouldn't be in leadership.
Say it, repeat that.
If you're not able to go against the system to give your kids what they need, you shouldn't be in leadership. And I strongly hold firm to that. My superintendent, she has my back. I gave you my story within the district. Yes, it's TA policy. It's the policy of the district. You can't pick up students and drop students off. I get it. My superintendent say, here, Dr. Jackson, here are the keys to all the cars in the school district. If that 16-year-old girl that's pregnant and she wants to go to school and her babysitter gets to school at 9 o'clock, a babysitter gets there at 9, go get her. That's bucking the system, but operating within the system. And with me as a principal, Kafele, I broke the system. I taught our kids how to read. I bucked the system when I went to middle school. Middle school don't know how to teach people how to read. I had to teach my teachers how to teach their students how to read that didn't know how to. High school, they don't know how to teach students how to read.
Mm-hmm. No,
I had to walk them through that. So that's where I'm coming from there with the system piece. And I see you shaking your head. You can be in agreement with me. But man, when you went into your new, I think it was Newark Tech.
Yeah.
But you on the mic, man. You had to do some system stuff.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
And you had to fall on the sword for it. And you fell on the sword.
Fell on.
You tell that story. I'm striking the nerve now. You're like, no, brother, no, sir, I'm not doing that. I'm doing something. You stood up right there, toe to toe with the superintendent.
Yeah, that part was in East Orange.
Okay, and man, that causes you had some you recognized a glitch in the system, and you had very courageous conversation.
Suspended with determination hearing coming on September 22nd, 2004. I got them dates locked in. Suspended on September 17th, on the radio September 19th, and determination hearing September 22nd, 2004. And by the evening of September 22nd, 2004, the board said unanimously, report back to work tomorrow. You did nothing wrong. So that's why I smile. That's why I could smile. I ain't got a frown on that one, man. I could grin. The boy said, report back to work. I just stood up like a man.
But you failed to swim in the pool of mediocrity. But you wasn't operating in the system that wasn't best for your students.
Right.
And you stood on that.
Right.
And I just can't comprehend on how we can operate like that. But you gotta know that the system is dysfunctional in order for you to reach your optimal level from a leadership perspective.
It's interesting, with everything you said, it just spilled right into my final question in a way that I couldn't have planned it better. Right. Let me give this backdrop. Yes, everything that you just said, I decided I'm going to go against the grain. To the fam out there, let me say this to you. Let me give you context. We're right at the end. We're not doing any rapid fire, any of that. He's done that multiple times. But check this out, fam. When you if you were to invite me into your school, and that's not a hint, I'm just it's a scenario. If you were to invite me into your school and we walked your halls and we walked into classrooms, I'm talking about you all on here right now live, and you all who are going to see the video later, which is the majority of the people who see these, we would see on your walls somewhere, and we would have seen it more so before this administration. Some of us have pulled these down where I'm going. We would see these posters of these various heroic people who went against the grain in terms of the forward flow of people striving for freedom, right? And they'd be on your walls, your hallway walls, your office walls, your classroom, your teacher's classroom walls, etc. And the reason that they're up there, I could reduce it to a sentence or a phrase. These are people who went against the grain. Period. End of story. Drop the mic. They went against the grain. So therefore, you have people in your school, including you, who made a decision. We want to celebrate you because you went against the grain, and we want our students to know about you because you went against the grain. So you got all these different people up on your walls. I'm not going to name drop, just you know who these various folks are. Some are well known, some are lesser known. The ones who are lesser known, then hopefully you're explaining who they are and what they accomplished, right? So anyway, I'm saying that to say this, and this is just rhetorical for the fam. How do you have these people on your walls, but you don't lead within their example? It's a contradiction. You got people on your walls that went against the grain, but then your leadership is upholding systems of oppression. That's a contradiction, fam. And you gotta think about that. You gotta think about that. You're celebrating people who went against, like if you, I'll just pull Dr. King off the top, because that's usually the first, that's the go-to, right? So you got King up on the wall, but you ain't acting like King. Then it's a contradiction. So I had all these people all over my building. I couldn't walk in that building and be other than. If that's what I see when you walk in my office, we're not talking about the school now, we're talking about my office. There's King, big, huge poster in a frame. There's Malcolm right next to him. There's Harry Tubman. There's Sojourner Truth. And then there's Dr. Carter G. Woodson. These 5 huge posters, black and white, in my office. That's the first thing I see once you open the door. How am I going to walk in that office, see them, and be other? That will create so much cognitive dissonance.
Yeah.
So if I'm going to see them when I walk out of that office, I got to be them to the best of my ability within my job, my employment, right? So I'm saying all that to say, y'all, it takes me to I'm back at Dr. Jackson now. That shift in thinking. Let me read the quote once again. It's not the system is failing our children. It's actually functioning as intended. As an educational leader, recognizing this is the first step towards ensuring student success for all students. Now, I said that's a blind spot. So my question, and there's a word I use, and I want to explain the word just for clarity before I ask it to Dr. Jackson. Not for clarity for him, but for clarity just because I don't know who's watching, right? There's this word consciousness, and a word kind of grew out of the word consciousness called woke. But the word woke became politicized, and it created, and all these connotations emerged out of it, that I took the word woke. Let me see if I can get a piece of paper here. I got a napkin. I took the word woke and I balled it up and I threw it in the nearest garbage can. And I went back to the word consciousness, which is not politicized. Consciousness means that when you can look at life, the world, through your third eye, right? Like you have deeper understanding, as a lot of some certain generation of hip hoppers would say, have overstanding, right? So your understanding is beyond the surface. It's way above the surface. Or deep thinking way below the surface, right? So you got deep thinking under and above, right? So that's consciousness, right? So my question to you, Doc, here how I worded this. What are the blind spots in working in a school, in a system, toward developing one's consciousness and thereby still working within a system?
And man, I'm listening to you, Kafele, and I'm going to sum it up like this. Leaders must be courageous and conscious truth tellers.
Yeah.
Once again, leaders must be courageous and conscious truth tellers. There's so many things in that statement that is actually so important. Courageous.
Yeah.
Conscious, as you just mentioned. Truth tellers. Yeah. I gave you an example when I was an assistant principal and I came with some data. I was like, man, these two teachers, ELA and social study, they're in the 90th percentile, but their math is in the 50th percentile. These particular teachers over here, I went to my principal with that. This is my first year as an assistant principal. And I said, we need to do this. She said, no. I brought it to my supervisor. I said, we need to do this. And I said, no, let's do this. Because you're going to be in trouble if you bring this type data at the end of the year. I had to tell her the truth. My first year here as a superintendent, as the chief academic officer in the district where I'm currently working at now, this superintendent she worked on the weekend. She had this board filled up with all this new vision and these ideas we were going to make and the changes we were going to make. And this has caused a leadership principle change, Kafele, in October. Major high school, a big middle school. Over 2,400 students here and over 1,400 students at the middle school. The leadership, it wasn't what she wanted it to be, so we got to make a change. That's huge. And so she had a plan. She worked on it all weekend. And Dr. Pereira, she's such a phenomenal leader. Yeah. And she's a very intense listener. You had an opportunity to work with her before, yeah. and work for us on our district. And Doc, she wrote all of that down and she said, any feedback? And the room got quiet. Remember I talked about being a courageous and conscious truth teller. I raised my hand and I said, that's not going to work. That's not going to work. And I'm taking copious notes, just as I'm doing here. I'm just listening to you as well as you're listening to me, because I'm writing, I'm taking notes. That's what I do.
Same here.
And I said, it's not going to work. And she said, everybody was like, he's talking back to the superintendent. She did all this work over the weekend and he's telling her it's not going to work. And I said, no, it's not going to work. And I said, here's why. First of all, we're all new here. I'm new to Texas. You're new to Texas. And we got about 3 other people on this executive team that are new. You're coming into a district that has been doing well before we even got here. Yes, it's after COVID. But if you make this move right now, those 2 principals are well liked in the community, although they're not achieving. Although the schools is filled with the fights and all this on social media, I get it. But it's too early right now. Let's wait for a couple more weeks so we can gather more data. She said, you know what? She stopped and she said, you know what? I didn't even think about that. And she had a red mark on her hand. She put it down. She said, Dr. Jackson is right. She was like, y'all will reconvene next month. She didn't go to full month. I think she waited about 3 weeks. A couple of major incidents happened at both of the schools, and she made the shift because she had to say something to the board. But I'm a courageous and conscious truth teller, Kafele. And as leaders, you have to be able to tell that. But you have to have a plan. Notice I had a plan. I was able to tell her why it wasn't going to work. I had some data when I went to my principal and I said, hey, this is what we need to do. And I had some results to actually match that. See, when you was able to stand 10 toes down on that decision you made in 2004, you was able to stand 10 toes down, you had some results. You had some data to back it up, and you had the truth.
That's right.
You had those. So my message to everyone out there, as an effective leader, you must be a courageous and conscious truth teller, and you can't be afraid of the truth. For example, I was watching Sean Hurt's podcast earlier today, and he was talking about you have to have culturally responsive literature. And there was a question in there where a teacher asks, well, what if you're mandated by the district in ELA to only teach these texts? I was like, me being a leader, I caught that. I say you was mandated by the district to teach from these texts. Well, me as a principal, they didn't say everything about free reading time. They didn't say anything about books I'm reading in the cafeteria. They didn't say anything about books I can read in science.
That's right.
So you have to be courageous and conscious truth tellers, Kafele.
Yeah. I love it. Let me say to the fam, and we closing, fam. Just in case if I was misconstrued in any way, I'm not asking you to go in there and
be rolled. Nah.
Yeah. I don't want you fired.
Yeah.
I don't want you to be Principal Kafele in that regard, because I was, I'm cut from my cloth. We all cut from our own cloth. So I don't want, like, I pride myself on having the ability to inspire, but I don't want to inspire you to be standing at a podium at a board meeting fighting for your job, right? So, but what I am saying, if you're going to hang up those pictures, I stand on what I said about that. Don't celebrate all these folks, but your leadership does not mirror that. Your leadership has to mirror the imagery that you find that should be in our building. You deem that this imagery is good for our children. Well, that imagery in your building is people that your children will probably never meet in life. The ones who are deceased, obviously, but the ones who are living, they may not meet them either. But guess who they will meet? You. They'll meet you, right? So what is it about you? I want y'all to hear me. Woo. What is it about you and your leadership that's consistent with the people that you are celebrating throughout your building? That's all I'm asking. So no, I'm not Malcolm. I'm not King. I'm not Mandela, right? But I said I'm going to be the strongest Baruti Kafele that I can be within my leadership in that building that is consistent with the people that I have on those walls. That's my point. So I want to make sure I'm not reckless and somebody write me an email, Kafele, man, I'm suspended, right? Because I followed what you said. No, don't do that. Don't do that. I'm gonna tell you something else. Hey, y'all give me a couple minutes before y'all leave, right? I gotta be somewhere anyway. Listen, I'm in Vegas, but I got a full day. Listen, when I was at that hearing, I want y'all to hear me on this. They allowed me to speak on my own behalf. I spoke for about an hour, but it wasn't like me reading some paper. I spoke as if I was the pastor at a Pentecostal church. That's how I spoke at my hearing. I went ballistic. And the board president cut me off at some point. And he said, Mr. Kafele, You don't speak as I can quote him. You don't speak as someone who's fighting for their job. This was the board president. I said, I'm not fighting for my job. I'm just letting you know my truth. Right? So that was number one. The other thing he said to me, he cut me off again. He said, Kafele, you don't have representation. I said, oh no, I'm being thoroughly represented. My representative is right here in this room, right up there. I'm good. See, everybody ain't cut from that cloth, y'all. See, so you got to walk in your lane, not my lane. Walk in your lane, but be inspired by others who are in other lanes. Right? Enough said, y'all. Enough said. Check this out. Essential Systems for School Success. Subtitled An Integrative Organizational Framework. This is Dr. Jackson's latest. This has been the focus of his entire residency. He still got another month in December. We got a big one too. He don't even know about it yet. Right? But, we got a big one. But you can go to Amazon right now and get yourself a copy. The reason that I think we scheduled 7 months, right? The reason I would spend 7 months with one guest is because of this powerful book. So if you don't have it, please get it. You can go to Amazon, get it. So when I pleaded with you all to get mine, my latest book, get this with it, right? Maybe they give you a discount, right? Get this with it, right? Get this with it. Hey Doc, how do they reach you? How do they follow you? How do they book you? How do they bring you in?
Man, you can follow me on X at Dr. Marcus Jackson, Facebook, LinkedIn, at Dr. Marcus Jackson. I'm on all those platforms, and I always like to give out my email, drmarkjack@yahoo.com. That's drmarkjack@yahoo.com. I love sharing information. Kafele, you'll be surprised. I get that email out, man. I'll get a scenario or something that someone is actually dealing with, and I'm able to give them some quick advice on the spot, and I do that often.
Good stuff.
And that's the purpose. That's the purpose of this platform.
Good stuff. And you know, Dr. Jackson's been on here so much. I forgot to ask you all the question as it relates to your applause. I mean, did today's session, did it resonate with you? Was it good to you? Was it useful? Could you utilize the content? Could you incorporate it or infuse it into your practice, into your leadership? If so, give us those emojis. I mean, a lot of y'all started, but matter of fact, does that work on Twitter, on Facebook? Yeah, you can do emojis on Facebook, because I got to get on Facebook more. But hit us with those emojis, y'all. Your favorite emojis, which is our applause, to let Dr. Jackson know if today's session was good for you. And I brought I bring my little Louisville Slugger, so you certainly hit it out the park. I'm wearing my Harlem Globetrotters. A lot of people don't know that the Harlem Globetrotters were not just basketball, but they had a Negro League baseball team, which was an exhibition team, what they call it, barnyard. This is the jersey. It's authentic. I had to turn the air on full blast. I'm in Vegas. This is flannel, man. So it's yeah, this ain't mesh, y'all. This flannel, right? So keep those emojis coming, y'all. Keep them coming. I see them. Keep them coming. Yeah. Appreciate that. Hey, y'all, let me close us out. I'm gonna put you backstage, Jack, and then now
okay.
You ain't one here. You Dr. Jackson, and then just stay there for me, and I'll bring you right back up.
All right.
Gotcha. All right, y'all, check it out. Appreciate you being here for week number 292, live in Las Vegas, Nevada. Join me next week for week number 293. I'll be solo. This will be my last solo for a while. I'll be bringing on guests on my solo Mondays for about the next 5 or 6 months. I don't know what it is, but for a while, because I had people I wanted to bring on and I had to give up my time so I could do it. So this will be my last solo. It'll be a little end of the year type thing probably. So join me then. Watch. I probably should start saying YouTube Live. YouTube Live every Saturday morning. Sean Hurt at 10 o'clock. I'm not saying Facebook no more. YouTube Live, 10 o'clock. Sean Hurt. followed by Create and Educate with Dr. Sheikah Houston, Dr. Tammy Taylor at 10:30. So that Sean is at 10:30, followed by yours truly at 10:55 on YouTube. We'll all be on Facebook, but we trying to shift things. And then Sunday night, 6:00 p.m. Eastern time, PGP podcast with Josh Tovar and Dr. Madi Moreno, right? If you don't have it, and stay with me, y'all, I got to get these announcements, and I don't want you to leave me. Just don't say he's done. Let me move on. I need you right now because I need you for this. For those of you that weren't with us during my morning announcement, during my opening announcements, I told you the economy under this administration has really hurt a lot of industries, not just business, but industries, complete industries. So the publishing industry is one of them. So this book, which normally most of my books, they become bestsellers according to ASCD's criteria in about 5 or 6 months. And this one is going on its 12th month in December. And in order for it to be a bestseller, it's got to hit 10,000 books sold within the first year. We're not there. We're at the precipice, but we're not there because of the economy under this leadership, with all these tariffs and so forth, and also funds being withheld from schools, all that stuff, man. So most of the publishing companies took a hit. Certainly the company that I write for took a hit, and therefore as an author, I took a hit, right? But I might even add, if I took a hit on a good book, then potential readers took a hit. So here's my ask. Get the book, y'all. If you're planning on getting it, but you keep putting it off, now's the time. I got 1 month. That's all I got. Probably less than that because the release date was December 16th. So I got a half a month. I got 15. I got about 17 days. So get yourself a copy of What Is My Value, instructionally to the teachers I supervise, and bless a brother, so that this book can be labeled as a bestseller, right? And that would be much appreciated. A lot of y'all write me and ask me, can you send me cash apps because you feel like the platform has blessed you, or I have blessed you. The interview videos that I have on YouTube have blessed you. I said, well, the blessing would be the cash app for me is just get yourself a copy of the book, right? That's all I'm asking, right? That's all I'm asking. I'm gonna keep that there. Let me keep moving. Now I got to change it. I want y'all to know that, as I said earlier, let's rearrange this screen here. I got a conference coming up. Let's do that a little bit better. No, not that one. That one. I got a conference coming up, y'all, in South Orange, New Jersey, at Seton Hall University. I'm co-hosting along with Dr. Tanya Breland and Dr. Erica Lee. February 16th. You all will be off that day, right? So February the 16th. I might have to remove Jackson from there. There we go. So February the 16th, so you can see that website on the bottom. President's Day, schools closed for most of you. Come on over to Jersey. Come on over to Seton Hall University. We got Dr. Salone Thomas L., known as Principal L, as our keynoter, but we got some dynamite breakout sessions. I don't know who they are yet because I haven't looked at the proposals. I will be looking at them soon, along with Dr. Breland and Dr. Leak. And we'll make some decisions, but we want you to be in attendance as well, right? So come on over to Jersey. If you're in Jersey, then we want to see you in the building. If you're in New York City, we want to see you in the building. If you're in Connecticut or Philadelphia, we want to see you in the building. Those who have to fly, then catch that flight and come on over. We kept the registration very affordable, right? Very affordable. So come on and be with us there. And that will be greatly appreciated. More will be said over the next several weeks. Also, my Leadership Institute, the School Leadership with Principal Kafele, the 9th annual, that'll be in Savannah, Georgia on July 9 and 10. So more will be said about that later. I'm not going to do that right now, but more will be said about that later. But mark that in your calendars, July 9 and 10. I told my business partner, I said, we got to bring that price down. So those of you that saw the price last year and said, oh man, that's a little bit high, I can't, we bringing it down significantly, right? Want to make it affordable and get more of you in the room, right? So be on the lookout for that. Make sure you subscribe to the AP and New Principals Academy YouTube channel. Got 24,661 subscribers. That's a lot of people. But I'm trying to get to 25,000 now. So hit the subscribe button. We've been at 24 long enough, trying to get to 25,000, the quarter century mark, so so to speak. So subscribe to the AP and New Principals Academy YouTube channel. Make sure you visit principalcafele.com. I got a lot on there, man. Just come on to the website and check it out. And lastly, your diet. I'm in Vegas, man, but I'm trying my best to keep that diet, you know, reasonable. It ain't what it would be at home, but we ain't going overboard either. Your exercise. They got a fitness room here, so ain't no excuse. And your virus precautions. Make sure you're taking care of yourselves. Other than that, folks, appreciate you. See you next Saturday, week 293. Welcome back to your respective schools. Have a great week. Have an extraordinary week. Have your best week yet. Peace. Peace. Thumbs up. Cock that fist all the way back. 1, 2, 3. Bam! I'll see y'all next Saturday.